Welcome back to State of the Nation. My guest, Abiodun Aremu, is a labor activist and an analyst of that. But thank you for standing by, and also in Abuja, our studios there. Engineer Ruben Okeke is there for us, looking at the very troubling situations in Nigeria where strikes have repeatedly happened. Let me talk to you first before getting back to Abuja again. Power is in the center of agitation for labor at some point. At some point, you wanted to picket some of these distribution companies. We saw that happen at the start of this administration. Is it conceivable for you to consider the current realities as against an increase in tariffs?
There is no current realities. You see, we are still living with the arrogance by the government, their insensitivity and irresponsibility in terms of provisions of energy for Nigeria. For instance, now, he said they assessed their record. Because before you can determine the prices of electricity, who owns the electricity sector? And that's why we are calling for reversal of that. Can he name the owners of those sectors? There is the Skybank thing that
it belongs to the government.
No,
there's no disputing that.
That is the point I'm talking about. These properties of the Nigerian state, the investment from independence, you see, it's what is handed over by people who claim to have capital. You see, part of that is what is going on in Skybank now. You know, the chairman of Skybank and directors are alleged to have taken huge sum of money.
Yeah, but of course, those are allegations. But they are being investigated at the moment. Until it comes out, we cannot authoritatively talk about that.
I'm saying, yes, the allegations. But I'm saying to give you some of the snippets of information that eventually be revealed. You have the $16 billion voted for electricity during the Obasanjo regime, which was subject of an inconclusive inquisition at the National Assembly the other time. If you go and find out eventually, do your investigations, those who own the Genco discos, you see, are the people behind that. What I'm saying is that for you even to determine pricing, because in part of the act, you see, you have to fix price on the basis of your return on investment. Those things are not your investment. It should also provide us with information at the level of how many megawatts. As we speak now, none of those discos Genco, you see, have added a single watt that can power a bulb to the national grid of electricity.
Let me put you on pause for a minute or two.
It's important, because what they are doing, and that's the arrogance. What they are doing essentially, you see, for years, for several decades, you have given people estimated bills.
Let's get a response.
For services you have not provided.
Let's get a response from Engineer Ruben. Engineer Ruben, looking ahead, the options are there, that's according to the minister, in the areas of solar, wind, and so on. How can these potentials be structured so we don't find ourselves in a merry-go-round?
Gimba, please, before I go to what you're saying, I just want to correct some of the impressions that Aremu has raised. And it is not very good to be deceiving the Nigerian public with some of the information that he has just given. It is not very good for him to come and say that none of those who bought these Gencos have added a single megawatt to the grid. I don't know where he's getting his information, Gimba, because I know very well that majority of them, really, for instance, Transcorp that bought Uyeli raised the generating capacity of Delta of Uyeli Power Station. They took it up when it was 100 and something megawatts. Now Uyeli is going up to 500, 600 megawatts. Egbe, for instance, by the time they took over Egbe was below average of 700 megawatts. But of course, we saw Egbe going up to 1,100 megawatts. These things didn't come from heaven. It didn't drop from heaven. Somebody made it happen. So when Aremu start talking about nobody has added a single megawatt to the grid, I don't know where he's getting this information from. And Nigerians don't need to be deceived. Before privatization, what was the average generating capacity of Nigeria? We were having below 2,000 megawatts. But we have gotten to 5,000 megawatts before the vandalization of the gas pipe started.
My apologies, Engineer Ruben. But I do sincerely apologize. This is where we're going to have to leave it. We'll create another platform where we'll be able to interact through longer hours and discuss this outrightly even more. I want to thank you so much indeed for talking to us, Engineer Ruben Okeke. He is, of course, the Director General, National Power Institute, Training Institute of Nigeria, talking to us from our Abuja studios, as well as Mr. Abiodun Aremu, is a labor analyst and, of course, an activist. I want to thank you so much indeed for sharing your thoughts with us. And also to you, I want to thank you for being part of the show. That's State of the Nation. I'm Gimba Umar. Thanks for watching.